Welcome to the Still Point Podcast, the calm in the middle of chaos. I'm your host, Angelo, and today we're diving into a paradox that's been sitting heavily on my chest lately. What if the way to deepen our connections is to first learn how to let go? Sounds counterintuitive, but in both Stoicism and modern psychology, especially cognitive behavioral therapy, there's a powerful theme. That meaningful connection starts by detaching from the false stories, negative thought loops, and ego-driven reactions that separate us from ourselves and from others. So today we're talking about how to create stronger relationships with your purpose, your people, and your peace by mastering detachment. Let's begin with the Stoics. Seneca once wrote, "He is most powerful who has power over himself." This wasn't about coldness or isolation. The Stoics believed in living in alignment with nature, which meant living in connection with others, but without being ruled by external circumstances or fleeting emotions. Detachment in Stoicism means recognizing what's within our control, our thoughts, beliefs, and actions, and letting go of what isn't. Why does this matter for connection? Because when we're overly attached to being right, or to getting our way, or to how people should behave, we lose the ability to actually show up in our relationships. We get stuck in resentment, disappointment, or shame. And that's where disconnection thrives. Now let's bring this into the realm of modern psychology. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, is grounded in the belief that our emotions are created not by events themselves, but by how we interpret them. In other words, we feel what we think. According to a 2017 article in Cognitive Therapy and Research, emotional distress is often sustained not by the situation, but by the rigidity of the beliefs surrounding it. And this is where cognitive reframing comes in. CBT helps us identify and challenge distorted thinking, catastrophizing, black and white thinking, mind reading. These mental habits can trap us in a cycle of disconnection. Let's say someone doesn't text you back. Your automatic thought might be, "They're ignoring me. I'm not important." But when you detach from that thought, pause, and reframe, you open the door to curiosity, empathy, and possibility. Maybe they're overwhelmed. Maybe this has nothing to do with me. That one shift, it can save a friendship, a marriage, your peace of mind. Connection requires vulnerability, and vulnerability requires courage. The Stoics talked a lot about living in accordance with your values: justice, wisdom, courage, temperance. When you reconnect with those values, you start building relationships that aren't just reactive, they're intentional. And CBT echoes this. Values-based living helps us move toward what matters, even when uncomfortable thoughts or emotions arise. This is called committed action, and it's central to acceptance and commitment therapy, a branch of CBT. So when we detach from destructive patterns and realign with our values, we create space for real connection, first with ourselves and then with others. And this leads me to something that's not talked about enough: the power of apology. We've all been there. Too prideful to say sorry, too caught up in our own ego to admit we were wrong. But here's the thing. There's no trophy for holding on to pride. There's no freedom in pretending we don't care. In the Journal of Positive Psychology, researchers found that authentic apologies significantly predict relational repair, emotional relief, and long-term connection. Seneca also said we suffer more in imagination than in reality. How many relationships stay broken because of imagined consequences of vulnerability? Because we're scared to say, "I was wrong, I'm sorry, I want to fix this." Let me say this as clearly as I can. It is never too late to apologize. If someone's still alive, there's time to make it right. And even if they're not, there's still value in making peace with yourself. Don't let your final chapters be filled with regrets, stacked high like books you never finished reading. Don't die disconnected from the people who mattered most because you let your ego do the talking. So what's the takeaway? Detachment isn't about disconnection, it's about clarity. It's about letting go of ego, of false narratives, and of the need to control what's not ours to control. And in that letting go, we finally create space for forgiveness, for alignment, and for love. Before we end today, I want to give you 10 tasks to help build your connection. Homework, if you will. First, create a thought journal. For 1 week, write down any negative automatic thoughts you have during moments of disconnection. Next to each thought, challenge it by asking, what's the evidence? What else could be true? Would I say this to someone I care about? Number 2, create a control inventory. Make a 2-column list. On the left, write everything bothering you this week. On the right, label each item within my control or outside my control. Let go of what's not yours to carry. Choose one action you can take on that is within your control. Reconnect with one person. Reach out to someone you've grown distant from, maybe a friend, a sibling, or a coworker. Send a text, call, or write a letter. Doesn't have to be deep. Just say, "You crossed my mind today. Hope you're well." Practice apology. Think of one person you may have hurt or distanced yourself from because of your ego or fear, and practice a Stoic and CBT-aligned apology. Acknowledge your role. Don't justify your actions. Express your desire to reconnect. And as a bonus, write it down first, even if you don't send it. And have a morning reflection. Think about what virtue guides you today. Every morning for a week, pick one Stoic virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, or temperance, and ask yourself, how can I apply this in a way that brings me closer to others today? Number 6, have a daily connection check-in. End each of your days by writing down one moment you felt connected, and one moment you missed the chance to reflect on what thoughts or actions contributed to each. Create an inner critic audit. Identify one reoccurring critical belief about yourself and track how often it appears this week. Each time, reframe it as if you're speaking to someone you love. Number 8, create a digital boundaries reset. Unfollow or mute accounts that feed comparison, anger, or distraction. Instead, follow people or pages that inspire emotional balance, perspective, and growth. Detachment from noise deepens real-life connection. Gratitude for people, not things. Number 9, write down 3 people you're grateful for and why. Reach out to one and tell them what they mean to you. Practicing gratitude creates a mindset of abundance, not scarcity. And go on a silent walk with intention. Go on a 20-minute walk with no music, podcasts, or distractions, and use that time to reflect on who do you want to be more present for? What connections are you avoiding because it's uncomfortable? And what are you ready to let go of? Thank you for joining me today. If this episode made you think about someone you need to reconnect with, do it. Send the text. Say the words. I'll catch you next time on the Still Point Podcast. Stay grounded, stay honest, and stay open.
1, 2, 3.